Hey everybody, what's up? This is Jeannie Ray, and of course, you're on another episode of Mondays with Maybe. This week, I wanted to talk about, Lord of all, our Master in heaven. And the first question, I'm gonna start this a little differently. The first question I want to ask you is, if you could spend 1 hour with just anybody, who would it be? And I know a lot of us are like, oh my gosh, just one person? That's insane, right? Like, I have so many different idols in the world. I have so many different people I look up to for business, for personal, for relationship, whatever it may be. But seriously, think on this. If you could spend 1 hour with anyone that's ever existed in any time, who would it be? See, a lot of us are thinking of, successful people in life, thinking of people that have run businesses, thinking of people that we idol in that realm in finance. Maybe you're thinking of like genius inventors that have existed, or maybe you're thinking of philosophers. Maybe you're thinking of scholars. Maybe you're thinking of engineers, or whatever it may be. The good Christian in me, and all of us, I would hope, is saying, Jesus. I would want to spend that hour with Jesus. And I would. I absolutely would. I would want to understand why he created me. I would want to understand his purpose for me. I would want to understand what he gave me all these flaws for, what he gave me all these blessings for. What did he expect me to do with it? Why did he create porcupines? Like, they don't make any sense to me. But I also have another side of it. I would want to spend that hour with my dad, because my dad was my hero in every way, shape, and form. And if you've been watching my podcast for a while, you know I lost my dad at an early age. He was a wonderful father when he was present, but he had his flaws. He was in a biker gang. He was in and out of prison constantly. But when he was present, he was a wonderful dad. And so for me, when our pastor asked us this over the weekend, it really made me start thinking about who I would want to spend that with. And I kind of felt guilty that I thought my dad. But I also felt relieved, because it shows me that no matter how old we get, no matter what we go through in life, we're always going to be that little boy or that little girl that's always going to need their parents, that's always going to need someone's guidance, that's always going to need comfort. But it also kind of intrigued a question in me of like, if I'm that little girl that still needs my dad's guidance, that still needs comfort, why wouldn't I seek that in Jesus? And so it just really piqued an interesting spiral of questions in my head. And I'm going to follow closely to kind of what we talked about in church this weekend, just because it was so powerful and so impactful for me. But I'm also going to touch base on my own personal spin with it, and then some things that have happened recently in my life. And I really want us to reflect on that. Who would you spend an hour with if you could spend an hour with anybody, right? And write down that answer and think about that. Like, truly try to figure out why you came up with that answer. Is it because you look up to them? Is it because you want to be them? Is it because you're trying to understand how their mind works? Or is it truly just because you miss them? See, for me, the reason I wanted to spend an hour with my dad is because he truly is my hero. Every part of my being wants to be like my dad was. My dad was very flawed in a lot of ways. But he was also one of the kindest people I've ever met to this day. He had the biggest heart. He would have given anyone the shirt off their back if they needed it. He would have given you his last $20 so that you could eat, even if he was hungry. And I witnessed firsthand, actually. We went grocery shopping, and there was this mom and her child sitting outside on the curb, and if you've heard this story before, I'm so sorry. But they were sitting outside on the curb, and I was just a little girl, and we walked out of the store, and my dad looked at her and asked if she had eaten today. And the lady just stared at him, and he, without hesitation, gave her our food. And I was just like, the heck? I want to eat that. Like, come on, Dad. And he just said, we will always have more coming. I will always provide for you. She may not. And right then in that moment, it kind of inspired just this curiosity in me of why he would do that. Why he wanted to be so kind to someone that he didn't even know. And as I get older and I look back, I can say it's because Jesus is in him. Because Jesus lived through him. And the reason that I want to talk about this today is because someone that I care about so incredibly much, that has my heart in every way possible, brought it to my attention. And they had said that they see Jesus in me. And I broke down. I absolutely broke down, because that is a huge compliment, an incredible compliment to any Christian, anybody, to be able to say that, you know, they see Jesus through you. They see Jesus working through you. They see it in your kindness. They see it in the way you treat people. They see it in your light. They see Jesus in you. And I just broke down. But there was also a dream. A dream that someone also had about me before this person talked about this. And in this dream, there was this little girl, and she was sitting on her dad's lap. And they were looking at a picture book of trees and branches. And I broke down, because the memory I had in my head is when I was a little girl, I used to sit on my dad's lap. And we used to go through the Bible. And the Bible is so incredibly confusing for adults. So imagine being a little girl trying to go through the Bible. And my dad would sit there and go through verses. And then he would dumb it down for me. And he would try to explain it to me. And there's a verse in particular, and I forgot which one it was, so please don't condemn me. But it talks about, you know, how Jesus is the vine and we are the branches. And, you know, how he bears fruit through us, but as soon as we stop living in the godly way, like, that fruit dies. And short term, of course. But they were reading a picture book, and it was a picture of trees and vines and fruit. And the reason that meant so much to me was because when I was a little girl, my dad and I read that passage, and I was so confused. I was just like, I don't understand. Why are we branches? Like, what does that mean? How are we branches? Like, we're not trees. What? And so my dad explained it in a sense of, like, Jesus is the gardener, and he tends to his trees, his branches, right? So that fruit may prosper, so that we can grow and bear fruit. And the fruit is a representation of Jesus' love. And when we tend ourselves, and when the gardener tends to us, we bear fruit for others. We spread the love of Jesus Christ. Jesus uses us to spread his love to others. He is the vine, we're the branches, and the fruit is his love. And so that always stuck with me. And I've always wanted to be a vessel that God could work through, and that he could spread love to others, and that he can impact others, and that he could help others through. And so when I was told about this dream, and then, of course, getting the compliment of they can see Jesus in me, I broke down. Absolutely broke down. And then I went to church, and they asked if you could meet with anyone for an hour, who would it be? And of course I thought Jesus, and then my dad. And I was so stuck on my dad, because I just wanted to understand him better. I just want to know him. Especially now that I'm an adult, I want to look back and know him and simply know if he's proud of me. But I started thinking on it even more. And now I almost feel ashamed for that, because I want Jesus to be proud of me. I want to know Jesus. I want that personal relationship with Jesus. And see, we try so hard to minimize God, to minimize him, to fit him into our image of who he should be, to make it more acceptable for the life that we're living. That, you know, Jesus is just a normal man. He's just like us. He sinned too. He drank wine. He made water into wine. He did this. He did that. And we try to minimize the glory of God and who he truly is, so that we feel better about ourselves and our sin and what we do. But the reality of it is, Jesus is not us. He is not human. Yes, he was on earth for a little bit, but guess what? He helped blind people see. He brought dead people back from life. He brought people back from the dead. He gave them life. He changed everybody's lives around him just by being him. He is the all-knowing. He is everything. And it is so incredibly naive and unfair of us to try to break him down into this person. One of the things that the pastor had referenced, and I laughed at it, was Talladega Nights, where he's like, I like to picture my Jesus in a tuxedo because it says, like, I'm serious, but I like to party, and I like to party, so I would like my Jesus to party. And we all laughed at it in church, right? Because, like, you don't expect a pastor to say something like that. But it's true, because we want our God, we want our Jesus to be like us. But he is absolutely nothing like us. And it really made me think, because all of those people that you thought about are people that you look up to, that people you want to be. But why don't we ever look at Jesus like that? Why don't we ever say, I want to be like Jesus? I want to be this perfect example of a person like Jesus. I want to help others. I want to love people so much that I'm willing to do anything and everything to help others, to put them first. Why? And the reason for that is because we try to use the excuse of, like, we got this, like, I don't need God, I can do this. I can handle my own issues. I got this. But the reality is you don't. Jesus isn't just there to be your savior in death. He's there to be your savior in life. He's there to walk through your struggles with you. He's there to meet you in your struggles. He's there to meet you in your issues, not just in your death, in your life. And if you wait until your death, then you're waiting way too long, okay? Because Jesus is there to help you with everything. He is the great master. He is the smartest thing in the entire universe. He is the healer. He is everything. He is literally everything in one. And we minimize that so much because it terrifies us. Because it's so hard to grasp that someone can have so much power. Because us as people are so power hungry. We're so knowledge hungry. We're so money hungry. And it's disgusting. Why aren't we hungry for love? Why aren't we hungry for God's love? Why aren't we that hungry for the wisdom and knowledge of God? Why aren't we that hungry to get to know our Creator? Like, when the heck did that change? And as I'm sitting here reflecting on recent circumstances in my life and just everything, I'm sitting here and I'm wondering, do I truly believe that my God is brilliant? Do I truly believe that my God is everything? Because I'm not acting like I do. I'm not acting like he's got me. I'm not acting like he's got this. I'm not acting like I'll be okay. I'm not acting like, God, please teach me this. Please help me. I'm not going to him for help. I'm not going to him for knowledge, because do I truly believe that he is the all-powerful, almighty, all-knowing? No, I'm not. And it is embarrassing to admit that, especially in front of all you guys. But Jesus truly has the answers to all of our struggles. And as much as I would love to just have an hour with my dad and talk to my dad and get to know the man that he is or was, and just share who I grew up to be with him, I can't disrespect or dishonor my God because of that. And I cannot try to minimize him into who I am by doing that. As much as I want to get to know my dad, I need to get to know Jesus. I need to get to know God, because God has the answers to everything. God is the one that's going to give me the strength I need. God is the one that's going to give me the knowledge I need. God is going to give me the guidance I need, the courage I need, the love I need. God is the only person that can soften your heart. God is the only person that can bring you through your struggles. I saw something recently and it said, God parted the Red Sea. He didn't stop it from happening. And for me, that was saying, God's not just going to take away the struggle, but what he is going to do is he's going to guide you through it. And that was so powerful to me. So a verse that I read that I'm going to share with you is Psalms 91:1, and it says, "Those who live in the shelter of the Most High will find rest from the shadow of the Almighty." I want to live in the shelter of the Most High. I want to find rest in Jesus Christ. I don't want to keep struggling on my own. I don't want to keep worrying about life or if I'm going to pursue my passion or if my title is going to be enough, because I am not my title. As someone just reminded me, I am not my title. My identity is in Jesus Christ. And I keep forgetting that sometimes because I'm human. But the reality is, God's never going to abandon you. He's never going to forsake you. He will never make you question your worth. He will never make you question his intentions. He will never make you question anything. So why do we keep trying to find answers in today's world? Why do we keep searching for validation through relationships, through partnerships, through friendships, through careers? It doesn't make sense to me. And as I've been reflecting more and more and more, all I can say is I've disrespected and dishonored God and my relationship with God. And I feel so silly for doing that because he will never abandon me or forsake me. He will never fail me. He made me beautifully and wonderfully in his image. And it's just so silly to me that I would put anything above that. Someone that loves you so deeply and so incredibly much. And we try to minimize that because we're intimidated by it, because we don't know how to receive that love, because we don't know what to do with that strength, with that power. It's time to let go of that. It's time to push past that feeling of doubt, of insecurity, of uncertainty, and lean into God and lean into that relationship, that power that he has, because he is not us. He is not human. He is everything and anything in one. And we can't keep minimizing him and trying to put him in the same box that we're in, because he's not us. He's so much better than us. And so if when I said who would you want to meet, if you said a person, write that person down and write down the reasons why. Figure out why you want to meet with that person, and then figure out how you can see God in that light. Because for me, I wanted to get to know my dad because I will always be daddy's little girl. And I will always seek my dad's guidance and my dad's approval. But now, I'm seeking God's guidance and God's approval. And that's the only thing that matters to me. So, with that, I'm going to say thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being here. And I appreciate you guys so much for your constant encouragement, for holding me accountable to these podcasts. I can't tell you how many people last week were like, what the heck? I really need you this week. And that meant the world to me. No excuses, but I was just having a really bad week last week. So I took some time for myself. But we're back and we're here. And no matter what, I absolutely promise, even on my worst days, I will show up for you guys because you continue to show up for me. And I appreciate you so much. So make it your goal to make someone's day better. Go into this week with a beautiful light, with a new perspective on things, and try to figure out how to have that deeper, more meaningful relationship with God. Have a wonderful week, you guys.